last meeting we had, the biggest change, last meeting I said something about possibly some personnel changes. There has been some personnel changes. I think everybody kind of knows, Skylar is no longer with us in, either in position or president. He, got demoted and he didn't like that, so he turned in his resignation effective immediately. City council, last month, city council got on my butt about the guy's not putting in 15 hours a month. And I'm gonna talk to him and find out exactly what it has to do with, but it has to do with Texas Municipal League insurance. Y'all are all getting, volunteer fireman insurance, VFIS, volunteer fireman insurance something. And I guess the more hours you put in, the less the premiums are or something. I don't know. I gotta talk to Debbie and find out exactly.
That has never been an issue in 14 years.
They're kind of pissy about it.
If we're gonna do that, yeah, you might bring up the fact that right now we don't even have access to the office. The previous administration locked us out of the office. That's a little warm out here.
Yeah.
It's 100 some degrees outside.
Luckily, Chris is gainfully unemployed, so he's up here 10 hours a day at least. So
we're gonna abuse him while we can.
We got the chairs in there, got TV in there now. Okay, we'll look up to it.
I'm bringing a couch.
If we can find one.
I got one.
Yeah, but you got one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it to the station, but it's just like
I'll try to give one too.
Badges. If you want a badge, get with Chris and tell him what you want on it, how you want it done. They'll be 85.
Yeah.
$90 a piece. Department's not gonna pay for them because they'll be yours to have and keep for eternity. What we'll do is the station, out of our money, we'll pay for it, and y'all just reimburse the department. So give it to Chris as soon as he gets everybody's orders in. We'll have them ordered.
Now, what about guys that don't want to keep it? Just put their numbers on it.
If you don't want to keep it, when you turn it back in, we'll pay for it. But they're pretty cool. I don't know if you've probably seen them or not, but they're pretty cool. Dress shirts. Discuss amongst yourselves what kind of dress shirts you want. Whether it be a polo, or the dark button down like they used to.
We don't have a call. My personal opinion, guys, is we don't have a call for Class A uniforms. A polo shirt like that, or even a funeral, blue jeans and a polo shirt looks good at a funeral.
What about pearl snaps in case I get a girlfriend that might want to pop those? You know, I'm still single.
Polo.
Does anybody not want polo?
What about Class B?
That would
Is that a Class B, the short sleeve?
Yeah, that'd be considered a Class B. A Class A is white with a tie and a coat.
Or more of a formal. I like that shirt right there, but I like the logo.
You like this logo? Peanut Festival. So we got a booth at the Peanut Festival. In the office here, we got a patio furniture set that was donated by Tractor Supply. We got a very nice ladies' leather motorcycle jacket that's donated. We still got a couple of feelers out for other donations from Lowe's, Home Depot,
Harley and Harbor Freight.
So if you know anybody that might be willing or have something to donate, let us know. With the money that we raise, of course, it'll just go into our general account, but something that I would like to get going is like a rehab program here. But again, that's just, I can write a grant for something like that if we want to. But anyway, the more things we get donated, the more money we can make.
We're gonna do the junior firefighter deal?
There's been a lot of talk about that. You just have to see how many people we would have interested. I'm definitely not opposed to it. I'm all in favor.
Sherman Fire, Station 153, major accident. Station on Lambert and Travis, Station 3, Station 1, major accident. Lambert and Travis, still on 1908.
The personnel drama kind of went along with some of the stuff I touched on in the very first meeting we ever had with me. I don't do drama. enough drama. If you're one of the ones that causes drama, you're gonna be asked to go find employment somewhere else.
Station 3, Station 1, 2 vehicle accident within traffic.
We're grown men. In this job, we've got enough drama dealing with the calls. We don't need it at the station. Keep it out of here. Engine 452 has got scene lights on it now, and they are pretty cool.
They are. Lights it up.
There are 3 toggle switches on the dash. If you, there's the 3-way switches. In the middle, the lights are off. If you push them up, it turns them on. Red, wig-wag strobe. Well, a multi-pattern. Red strobe. If you turn them down, they're solid white light bars, LED light bars. So they double as emergency lights and scene lights. The left one is for the one facing left, the middle one is for the one facing forward, and the right one is for the one facing right. Pretty self-explanatory. They're not labeled yet. We got a label maker. They will be labeled pretty soon. We ordered an air conditioner for 452. It should be here within a week. Hopefully we can get it installed in the day. We're going to install it ourselves. They seem to think it's pretty easy. Just the guys I've talked to at the factory, cut a hole, stick it in there, silicone it, and plug it up.
We got the guys that can do it.
We'll definitely do that, for sure. When you're operating the apparatus,
North Star Station 5 medical call. One call
remember that if you break it, we gotta pay for it.
Call 112 Bluffview in Norwood. Come out Huntington.
maintain situational awareness everywhere. Be careful where you're driving it. Hazards, whether it be like going down Elliott, try to dodge the holes if you can. If you're going down Elliott, hit as few holes as you can, and hit them as easy as you can. These are not Baja trucks or anything like that.
I'm the one that tore up the ladder, so go ahead and let you know, PTS.
It happens.
It does happen.
It
I'm
happens.
sure it wasn't on purpose, but I felt like, but I made it, and I got it back.
And which we found handles today for $30 a piece.
Man, I
So-
brought the money too.
Don't worry about it. That stuff
I'm
happens.
strictly sorry to get the money.
They did a test run down at ADM.
Low blood sugar.
They put 2 firemen in a round padded room and gave them 2 bowling balls. An hour later, they went to check on them. One bowling ball was missing, and the other one was broken in half.
Well, good God, that, it happens.
It happens.
Where'd the other one go? Did you check the guy when he left?
He was walking funny.
Okay.
That guy will remember we're on camera.
So last week, or a couple weeks ago, we had an RV fire down 289. We got called out for 462 because it had a grass fire associated with it. We got there and was getting no pressure whatsoever out of the hose. They got to look at it and noticed that the inside liner had separated, so it had a big aneurysm on it. So we ordered a 100-foot section. 100-foot section new hose and put it on there, so it works like it should now.
Approximately about 200 foot of line on it now.
So it works like it's brand new. We got 2 new firemen. Good news. Mark Gilmore, the cop, he's going to be a fireman with us, and then Toby and Chris' buddy John. He doesn't want to fight fire, which is nothing wrong with that. He's more than willing to drive, pump, whatever we need him to do.
We'll be operating on Camel 2.
I think he's going to be a good fit for everybody.
Once he gets a taste of it, he'll.
Change the team.
Yeah.
He's not saying anything about grass fires.
No,
He's not opposed to
he
grass
he's not, he don't know about it yet, he's not sure.
Well, once he gets the adrenaline.
Yeah, once you get that adrenaline rush, it's nothing
I think
like
grass fires are easy.
Yeah. So anyway, he was up here earlier. I don't know if everybody got to the meeting, but he seemed to be a good guy.
And he wears hearing aids, guys, so you guys gotta talk up to him.
Oh,
This coming Saturday, August 8th, 1:30, 410 Stetson. It is Mayor's granddaughter's 7th birthday. He wants us to do a drive-by. I'll put a notice out, or an alert out Friday.
Sheriff Farmay,
It's only on shift Friday, but I'll try to remember.
Do that, or I'll put it out.
Okay. I'd like to have as good turnout as we can. Maybe even do like we did the kid in Sadler, and dress the engines up a little bit with balloons or whatever and whatnot.
be able to make it, or prior commitment already.
Does anybody have anything? No? All right. Let's talk about ventilation. All right. And I had no time to get to any lesson to get. Oh, I'm sorry. One more thing.
Gas detector?
Gas monitor. Has everybody had a chance to mess with this?
Not that.
Okay.
H2S monitor?
It detects hydrogen sulfide, it detects carbon monoxide, combustible flammable gas, and oxygen level. So this is going to be good, you know, for gas leak, of course, or this winter, or as you don't have to be in the winter, people use propane. Somebody's carbon monoxide detector is going off, or if you get a call, like a medical call, and for some unknown reason somebody's got symptoms of carbon monoxide intoxication, which is flushed red skin, hot skin, flu-like symptoms, headache, severe headache, nausea, vomiting, stuff like that. Especially if it's more than one person in the house. That should, if you got more than one person complaining of headache, nausea, vomiting for no apparent reason, and it's not the middle of flu season, that should key you in right there. Especially if, you know, then if they've got gas burning appliances in their house. That should tee you off right there that, hey, this could be a possible carbon monoxide situation. You know, CO is colorless, odorless, tasteless. It can kill you. So anyway, so to make this thing work, it's got this middle button. It doesn't really look like a button, but it's right there in the middle. Push it down. And what it's going to do, it's going to take about 3 minutes to go through all of this checks. It's got 4 different sensors on here. It's going to check each one, check the high level, the low level, check the calibration.
Turn it on and clean fresh air.
Yes. Go outside. If you suspect it to be a contaminated atmosphere, go to where you know it's a clean atmosphere and turn it on to set it up, because that's the air that is going to compare the contaminated atmosphere to.
Medic 82, transfer command.
No, right now it's over there by the radios, hanging up on that screw.
Medic 82.
So we
You'll
don't
have
know
to
what,
take this
you know,
building on a land versus
we only got one, so, you know, what apparatus do we put it on? And PD has kind of been trained on it too, so.
Medic 82.
Just as easy to come in here and grab it off the wall and take off with it. With that metal box.
What will our dispatchers give us? Hell, they don't even tell you that the house is full of propane, and it's a DOS.
And that be, you know, that could, you could radio back and have, you know, have somebody pick it up. Okay. So it's say wait, it'll give you a 10-second countdown, or I'm sorry, 15-second countdown. That's ready to go. It's reading 0 on everything except oxygen, thank goodness. It's reading 20.8%, which is what we've got in the atmosphere. So you just take this in the house, and it's going to alert if it picks anything up.
Take it to my attic.
Up here on the top left, this is COMB/EX. That's combustible and explosive gas. That's going to read a percentage. Every combustible and explosive gas has an upper and lower level of combustible level. Okay, if it was too rich, it won't burn. If it's too lean, it won't burn. The magic number you're looking for is 100%. It is measuring the percentage of the lower explosive limit. So as long as it's 100%, less than 100%.
We're having problems.
You all right, do we need to check your gas?
Need CPR there, Chuck?
I ain't going there.
It could be combustible. Take the meter in.
Could be hazardous
Do we need to check
material.
your gas with this deal? We got a long stem stick on it.
So when the COMB/EX gets up to 100%, that means you have reached that lower flammability range of the gas. That's when you're in trouble.
The lower the better.
The lower the better. Carbon monoxide will read in parts per million. And That's what this right here is for. It tells you what to do based on how many parts per million it's reading. Basically less than 9, you know, if you've got a gas-powered appliance in your house, there's going to be a certain level of carbon monoxide in your house. Period. That's just the way it works. If it burns, it puts off carbon monoxide. If you got a gas stove, you know, you're standing in front of it, you're breathing in a certain amount of carbon monoxide. But I'm not even gonna bore you with it right now. If you take it and you get a carbon monoxide reading, this little pamphlet here, you got everything you need to know. What we do. If you do get a positive carbon monoxide, shut the gas off at the meter and ventilate the structure. Because carbon monoxide will go boom. This metal box is over there on the by the radios.
We just get that, or they've been sitting there for a while?
We've had it for a while, but we just got it fixed.
Let's say you go into a house and you think you smell mercaptan, or you think you smell gas. They got a gas leak or something. This probe right here sticks right on here. It's fireman proof. I mean, it sticks on there. It's quarter turn lock. It won't come off. Right here above the on-off button, there's a little hole. Plugs right into that. So, you know, they got gas lines running to the stove. You can reach back there, follow the gas line up, something like that. Or, you know, gas line coming into a water heater or something, reach up there and get a sense, you know, take sampling like that. It does take a little while.
One of the times, this is a good thing to have. You get a possible lightning hit on a house, even though you don't see smoke, you don't see fire. Especially with the flexible
corrugated flexible gas
stainless,
lines.
yeah, they'll have a pinprick. They'll have pinprick, and you may not smell the gas for it may be half an hour, 2 hours later before you smell it.
Nobody understands why that is, but yeah, the corrugated flexible gas line, lightning strikes. You're gonna put like hundreds of them, just tiny microscopic holes in those things.
Electrolysis type
I
situation.
guess, yeah. So anyway, so that's that. When that just pulls out, it doesn't screw in or anything. If you get a reading, before you turn it off, and it's alarming, before you turn it off, take it back out to fresh air and let everything go back to zeros.
ETA, please.
Okay. Turn it off, just the same middle button, hold it down.
We're about a minute out.
Hold it down for 5 seconds and turns off. So there you go. Any questions? Pretty self-explanatory. All right. So what's ventilate? Like I said, I'm sorry. I apologize. I didn't have time really to come up with this today and what we're going to talk about. So, why do we ventilate?
Get air in there.
To get air in there, but air is our
Let the
enemy.
smoke out.
Air is our enemy.
Not the heat out bad.
The heat and the smoke.
But yes, we do. We want to replace the bad, superheated air and products of combustion that are in there with fresh air. And you can also use ventilation to actually control the fire spread. You know about fire, it wants to go it follows the path of least resistance. And it wants to go find that fresh air and the way out. It wants to suck the air in, then it wants to find a way out. Okay? It improves survivability for not only the tenants, but also the firemen. It makes it where you can see. You know, if you've ever been inside of a burning structure, you can't see anything. It's not like it is on TV. You can't see anything. You know, think about, going into Elaine's house here for the first time with your eyes closed and you got to find the bathroom.
Coming through.
You know, you've never been in that house before. You got to find a bathroom, even with your eyes closed. That's what it's like when you go inside a structure. And so, you wanting some ventilation.
When you can't cut around behind the engine 83, you're facing on Lambert Street.
The one thing that you do before you ventilate is you have a hose line in place.
Wrong up.
And they can't, if you've got enough, the person who got the equipment to do it, it's beautiful to do it at the same time. You You know, if you know where the fire is, you know, you go in, go to the fire room, and somebody cranks the fan up right behind you. It clears all the smoke out for you, and you put the fire out, and life's good again. If you ventilate before you got a hose line in place, we'll show you what can happen in a minute. The fire's going to find you real quick. It's going to let you know where it's at. If you just go and blow a bunch of fresh air in there, the fire's going to say, hey, guess what, here I am, and now I'm bigger and badder than ever. Thank you, I appreciate you. So, ventilation is a very technical practice. You've got to know what you're doing. You can't just go in and just open a door and start smashing windows and put a fan in the front door. Yeah, you know, that still floors me. I'll go talk to him and find out why he did that.
Who did that?
We'll show you in a minute. They had 2 trailer house fires up in Preston.
It was off at the Atlantic Street back in February.
Yeah.
Jason had command. Denison, when we got on scene, Denison Fire was the only fire department still fighting the fire. They still had hose lines in their hands. Everyone else was in rehab. So we got on scene and
It was a defensive, offensive fire.
defensive fire, yeah. And we got told it was offensive, so we gear up, bunk down, go on air. And then he comes up to us and he goes, break all the windows, we're on defensive.
Look at him like.
Well, this is a very poor representation of my house. I'm not an architect or artiste.
Which one's your bedroom? No.
Why do you want to know?
This 3-car garage right here.
That big old deal right there, that's his bathroom.
So right here, let's say we've got a fire in the kitchen. This is my stovetop right here. We've got a fire right there. You know, you got just typical maybe room and contents fire or something, but it's gone long enough that it's smoked up everything. For positive pressure ventilation, what you want to do is compartmentalize everything. To get the smoke and stuff out faster, you want that pressure inside to be higher than it is outside. And that's the reason we use fans. It's not just to blow the smoke out. You want to build the pressure up inside the house so it forces the smoke out. You're not just using it to directionalize wind. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go in and wherever the fire originated from, that's obviously going to be the hottest and smokiest. You're going to need to come in and close every door, because that's going to let the pressure in here build up faster. You with me?
Yeah.
You're going to close every door, but you're going to have an exhaust. And there's arguments about the size of entrance or inlet compared to the exhaust size. It doesn't matter. It really does not matter. So you got a back door here, you know, maybe you got some windows or whatever. You want to set the fan far enough back that when you stand in this door, you take your hand off and you can feel the air hitting you all the way around the door. Okay? Because what can happen is if you set the fan right inside the door, yeah, it's going to pressurize the inside, but then you're going to have the smoke coming out over the top of it and circulating right back in the house. So you take that fan, crank it up, and set it back, you know, a regular 3068 door, you know, from this yellow stripe to that wall is usually sufficient. Take your glove off, make sure you can feel air all the way around. And with all these other doors closed, it won't take long. You open up this back door for smoke to start chugging out of there. Alright, let's say you get this area in here clear. So you want to move on to the master bedroom now. Close this door, open this one up, and take the window out. Once you get that clear, close this door. That's one thing you don't need to just go in and start knocking doors off the hinges, because you know you can't control ventilation. You have to be able to control the doors. So once you get this all cleared out, shut this door, come up here, open this bedroom door, open the window. Once that's cleared, shut the door. See, it's pretty scientific, but it's pretty simple. You know, when you think about the concept of it, it's pretty simple. Just don't go in and just start opening windows, because then your fan is not going to be able to build up enough pressure in here to force the smoke out. then all you're gonna be doing is doing like I talked about earlier, you're just gonna be blowing air in there. Not doing any good.
So you don't even have to move that fan, you just keep it back
Yeah,
there.
keep the fan right there.
Keep it.
Keep it at the door. Something you want to think about is the wind blowing? If you got a strong north wind, or so my house, this is south, this is north. If the wind's blowing out of the south, I'm gonna carry the fan around back and blow this way.
Right.
Don't fight nature. You know?
Yeah, cause I was gonna just blow back at you.
Exactly.
Isn't it like windward and leeward?
Yeah, windward and leeward. You know, take advantage of Mother Nature. You know, because in Texas, unless it's August, the wind's always blowing. Since we don't have really anywhere to put the fan, one of the quickest, easiest ways that you can ventilate a room is hydraulically with your string. You go into a room, you know, you knock the fire out, it's hot, you still can't see anything. You got a window here, take the window out, stand back, you know, that's the window, stand back like this, about 3 or 4 feet. Open your nozzle all the way into like a 30-degree power cone. And you shoot right out the window. You know, that water stream pulls air with it. And you can clear a room out pretty stinking quick like that. It's called hydraulic ventilation. Back in the day, when vertical ventilation came out, we thought go up to the roof, cut a hole, reach down through there with a pipe hole, and punch a hole in the sheetrock. Well, guess what that does? It lets the smoke come up into the attic and out the roof,
But it also weakens
it makes a channel for that fire to come up into the attic. So, you know, if you've got a fire brewing downstairs and you don't know exactly where it's at, you go in there and start punching holes in the ceiling, guess what? Now the roof's on fire. Now the whole attic's involved. So, the only time that we would vertically ventilate is if the attic is involved and it has not already ventilated. That's the only time you'd really need to vertically ventilate. Or, if you get there in time, at the right time, and you witness signs of a potential backdraft, then you don't want to make any openings horizontally. You want to give that heat room to go where it wants to go. And once you make that vertical ventilation hole, it's going to go up. You know, yeah, cut the hole, reach through, you poke your hole in the ceiling. And then once everything gets outside, then it's going to flare off once it gets outside. So if you do have to vertically ventilate, you want to go as directly over the fire as possible. You know, if you got the fire over here, you don't want to cut a hole over here. Then that fire is going to want to travel all the way over here and go out the hole. Where is the fire hole? I don't know. Nobody knows what the fire is. You can't see through the shingles and decking. So just go up to the highest peak possible, cut your hole. 4x4 is the ideal size. Here, truth be told, we're probably not going to be on scene in time to need or be able to have the opportunity to vertically ventilate.
We did it.
But yeah, but who's to say we couldn't, you know, mutual aid with somebody and be asked to do that? You set a roof ladder, get up there with the chainsaw, start the chainsaw on the ground. You know, you don't need to be up there jacking with the chainsaw trying to get it started. Start it on the ground, set the brake, carry it up there with you, take an axe with you too. Because think about this, you're going to be operating, once you get that hole cut, or once you puncture that roof, you're going to be operating in a smoky environment. Chainsaws don't run too well in a smoky environment. So either take 2 chainsaws with you, or at least take an axe. Okay, an axe and chainsaw. You don't know where the rafters are, make you a plunge cut, and you want the blade or the bar straight up and down. You know, you don't want to just put the tip in. You want to stick the blade all the way in and cut. That way you can feel that rafter easier. You've got more chain, so you'll be able to feel when you run into it. top and roll it. Just come over the top of it. You don't want to cut rafters. You're going to cut into them a little bit. That's going to happen, but you don't want to cut all the way through. Make your 4x4 hole cut, and what you
In my case, a 5x5.
whatever, you know. Cut one time. It was a super steep roof, and you know I got these little T-Rex arms, you know.
Yeah.
And so we couldn't get off the roof ladder. I mean, I was reaching, sort of the size of a postage stamp, you know, just couldn't reach. But any hole's better than none. Ideally, what you want to do is, if this is a rafter, this yellow stripe's a rafter, you want to make your cut one rafter, get to the next one, stop, cut alongside it, back, roll this one, come until you get this one, stop, come up, and that way you can louver that right there one way or the other. If you cross two and you can't louver it, to make one cut in the middle, then you've got two louvers. So, it's fun to do, it's exciting to do once you get on the ground. But when you're up there, your pucker factor's pretty tight. It's exciting, it's good, fun stuff to do. If you've got a fire in the attic, as soon as you make that louver, fire's going to come out of there. So be sure you know where your ladder is and where the hole is. The chance of you not being able to see is pretty good. So you don't want to walk off into that hole. Not good. What else? If you end up using the fan, something you have to know is that it's going to be blowing carbon monoxide into the house. So it's not too bad, but you know it is a gas-powered motor, so you are going to get some carbon monoxide in there.
And let me know if you use the fan too.
Do what?
Let me know if you use the fan, because for whatever reason I feel the need to bring in a canine, I'm going to want to know that there might be some gas, like dying alerts to it. It's like, okay, I can rule.
Yeah. Never set a fan until you know the fire's out and you've got a hose line ready to go. Okay, because like I said, we're fixing to show you this video right here. It's pretty cool. I'd like to make one of these doll houses. We could, we just got to buy the equipment or buy the material. $20 probably worth of material. We can make
Sherman
one.
Fire 1882, Medic 84. Sherman Fire 1882, Medic 84. Being Route 916, East 9th Street for a medical call.
See if I can screw this up.
Sherman Fire 1882, Medic 84. Being Route 916, East 9th Street for a medical call. Route 1936.
What we're doing today is we have a makeshift house that talks about flow path and also will demonstrate flashover and backdraft. This design is not my design. This design came from some fantastic constructors around the country. And what they'll do is they'll send the plans, and then they'll ask to modify the plan to see what you get out of it. So what we did the other day was, when I got the plans, firefighter all, Lieutenant Byrne, and Dargis, they built the house for me. But what we changed a little bit on it was, these holes here are normally plugged. We put slides in it just to see if it would help us in it. On the inside, if you want to come around and look, we have a hole that the fire will travel through. Normally on the inside, it's an 8x8 hole. So we cut it as a doorway to see if we can get the Venturi effect. Everybody understands what the Venturi effect is? So we're trying to get the Venturi effect from this room to this room and see if we can get some volatile smoke to come out. Okay? Why do you think we have boxes like this? Well, the main reason why we have boxes like this is because our fires are going down, right? But injuries are continuing and firefighter fatalities are continuing. Why is that? Because lack of experience. We look at Birmingham, what happened just about 5 years ago? We had a buyout. We lost hundreds of years of experience. So now we have young people that are officers, young AO driving the seat. They're not really familiar on how to read smoke. They're not familiar on how to attack. They're not familiar how to control the flow path. So now we still have people coming, or firefighters going in and getting injured. This is a very cheap way to instruct our new officers, new AOs that are coming in to ride the seat about fire behavior. This box here costs $16. That's it. And it's a fantastic product. What has been added to this is, before it was just a 4-compartment box. you will get out of it. So the way we control the attic is we have an opening right here. So we'll pull this slide to control the attic. And then we'll pull this slide to control vertical ventilation. Okay? Let's keep going. Sorry.
You'll see they'll actually call some backdrafts in here. So you'll see backdraft, you'll see
ordinary materials such
smoke
as
explosion,
paper, cardboard, a little bit of wood. Why we chose this type of wood to use to build the boxes, this is what they're using in modern construction in our homes and apartments around our city. This is your decking, this is your decking for the roof, this is your floors that we're going to be dealing with, especially south side and north side. The truss systems, not really worried about the truss systems that we talked about before. We're worried about the OSB failing before the truss.
Side note, sorry to interrupt. Talking about trusses, in new construction, like the truss right down here, the trusses they make, that's 5 minutes in the fire. What they call the gusset plates, you know, the little metal plates, they're 3/8 inch. Number 2 yellow pine burns it 1/40th of an inch a minute when exposed to direct fire. So that gives you 5 minutes before it burns at 3/8 of an inch, and that gusset plate lets go. So if you got a 2-story house, and the second story floor is made out of those gusset plates, and you've got compromised sheetrock, you got 5 minutes before that truss is going to fail and come down on your noggin.
And if there's any holes burning the roof, you start adding water.
Right. If your attic is made from trusses like that, get 5 minutes.
So once we get the fire going, then we'll start demonstrating volatile of smoke. We'll start showing the neutral flame. You'll actually get to see it. Hopefully you'll get to see the bi-directional flow path. The thing about these houses though are, they're very finicky. What I mean by finicky is they work by what the weather dictates. Today it's kind of cool and damp. It's going to get kind of hard to get going with this fire. If it was a real dry day with a light wind, we can make this house do whatever we wanted to do. So hopefully we actually get it going pretty good and see what we can get. Does anybody have any questions? Anything at all? While we're getting going. Yeah.
Fire hazard.
For 30 years.
The hardest part of this whole thing is getting it started.
Gallon of diesel works.
It was breaking all the windows.
That house is already got anyway.
I didn't even get the lighter to see a hole in the box. Boom! Yeah, Mama's like, what happened? Nothing.
First wave LDMS, being around Emergency Contact at 2249 East FM 120, 2249 East FM 120. Several individuals here that will be serving equal patients needing additional air conditioning. Additional clear.
See right now the fire's getting plenty of oxygen. It's a happy fire. It's white smoke.
So how does fire work? It goes up and out, correct? So now we're starting to get going. What if we start controlling that air just a little bit? So say we start bringing that down, we start opening this up. Where's it going to travel to? It's going to travel to that side. Why? That's where the air is. That's where it wants to go. So if we open this back up just a little bit more.
It's starting to roll over into another room over there.
What we did before, we took the thermal imager to see what kind of effect that we got out of this hole. See, if you face down, you start seeing it coming out the hole right there, so it's starting to travel.
First wave LDMS, first FD on scene, you can disregard for the patient. First and clear, 1946.
It should start coming this way. As you can see, look at the volatile smoke we're getting out of there now. So we just cracked this just a little bit.
See, the smoke's starting to get a little
bit of
thicker.
air.
It's not free burning, it doesn't have enough oxygen.
We're not getting anything right yet. Let's get that fire going. Alright, we're starting to get it good now. Okay. Start closing this off a little bit. See, this is the new design we do with that door. We weren't quite sure how it worked. It looks like it's working okay. We're starting to get some. If you guys bend down, you can start seeing it come in just a little bit in here. So we shut it off completely. So we shut this off. What happened to that roof? Even with that door open, what happened? Trying to take the flame away. So we open it up a little bit, get a little bit of air. Now it should start going. So now we have that little ghosting effect, right? We had a little wind to it. What happened? So now we have it coming out pretty good here. See that volatile smoke, you're getting close to what? Flashover. So we just had a little bit right there. So when we shut that off, open this one back up. Go ahead and open that door. When you open this up, what's going to happen up here? Look at that volatile smoke that's going up there. So a young recruit comes and opens that door. You can start seeing it suck in just a little bit, right? We got a good windy day. So he comes, fits this door in. It starts traveling. See how it's traveling? Now we got good smoke, good fire coming up there, right? What happened up here when I took all the air away? The fire went out. So what kind of smoke are we dealing with? You got, how do we read smoke?
This is our fire department. Have a medical emergency at 102 Pecan Street. Have a 78-year-old female diabetic, blood sugar is below 50. Attention EMS, Southmayd Fire Department. Have a medical emergency at 102 East Pecan Street. Have a 78-year-old female diabetic, blood sugar is below 50.
Where all you vertical vent guys?
Nothing right yet because you haven't punctured that second floor ceiling.
So what happens up here if we were to take a lighter? Close it off. Free flashover smoke, right?
Just that, oh, my boy.
What's happening now?
Is it puffing like that?
Yeah.
Why is that? We have a limited air here,
Man,
and
we're
major
gonna be
air
around.
going in there, right? So it's still getting some type of
It's pretty
oxygen,
back
right?
there.
When we take a lighter to this, what will happen?
Nothing yet, it's not dark enough.
Let's open this up since we got
Build
one
it with
smoke.
hinges.
What's going to happen?
Watch the door go pop in and out.
We got a lot of heated gas. How are you going to do anything up there? Can you do anything up there? No, you ain't going to be able to do anything up there. So look what happened. We had a double flashover that took place there, right? Now we seal it off. Come in, open that door back up. Rookie comes in, breaks this glass. We have that double flashover again, right? So now, okay, we come in for that vertical vent. We open the attic. What happened at the gable?
Man, boy, this bad.
What's happening up here?
We're in the same, every second, but
Bust open another for that. You got 3 stories of flame now, right?
See how fast it's coming out of there now?
Anybody survive that?
On the gable?
So what are we looking at with smoke here?
everybody's doing that thermal imaging.
Over 1,000.
Oh, I mean, you ought to know it's
Someone get the green flag.
Yeah.
Come in with vertical ventilation.
You give a little bit of oxygen, that's gonna catch on fire up there.
Look at the smoke that's coming out of the attic.
The dark that is?
But here's the key. Look at
Right
that.
there's where you're
look
lost.
at everything coming out here, but what's
You're on
happening
top
to
of
the
the roof.
fire room? It's still burning. We can't quite get enough vertical ventilation to get all the heat and gases out, right? What is the main thing we got to do to control it? Control your air intake. Looks like a choo-choo train going in, right? I mean, with this, all this is demonstrating is, what are we doing with our ventilation? Overventilated, what happened?
What happens when you go around and bust out all the windows?
Look at the vertical vent.
You have all the fire you want then.
Air is our enemy, people, right? So for ventilation, what do we got to do first? If we're going to ventilate, what is the first thing we have to have in front of ventilation? What's the first thing we have to do before ventilation? Suppression. Suppression before ventilation. Right? Now we're sealed back up.
Send me out there.
Look at the balls of smoke. We're open that. Look at that. That's done. And it's not the first flashover or rollover that kills us. It's the second flashover or rollover.
See right there, when you open that, I came back out. Anytime you open the door, like a cop, you stand to the side of it. Let it do its thing, and then you can go in. Never open a door like this when you're standing right in front of it.
Rollover, that will kill it. Right?
You always check that door too first, right?
How you gonna do VES in that? That's gonna be hard, right? Especially when you come in and open that door up.
What he just said, he said, how are you gonna do VES right there? That's vent inner search. If somebody says, my baby is in that room right there, you go up there, take the window, go sit on the floor with an axe or something, go in there, shut the door. You're gonna isolate that room, or you're gonna search that one room. You know, this right here doesn't necessarily tell you what to do, it tells you what not to do. Don't just go in willy-nilly, opening doors, busting windows. If anything, you want to shut doors and shut windows.
Number 3 room is the room that has the doors closed. You still have volatile smoke because it's burned through right now. Let's see it real quick. And it has not lit off. The key to this prop is to show what ventilation does, what air does to the fire. Look at how pressurized that building is. It's just a box. And you come in and start opening stuff up. And you start lighting stuff up. And now last but least, for vertical vent, lights off. Enemy. What is our enemy? Air. So when we go to ventilate, what's the first thing we got to do? Go ahead and knock it down. Suppression before ventilation. Look at just a little bit of water, how to condition the cage, just a pump cam. So what do? Suppression, come back with ventilation. Control it, right? So when we're dealing with fire, we're vetting for fire, suppression first, then ventilation. Any questions? Like I said, 16 months. I'm surprised it worked as well as it did today because of the conditions. Does anyone have any questions? Anything at all? Like I said, it's a pretty good little prop. Go ahead now. Anybody have any questions at all? Anything? Go ahead. Real
So you
quick.
hang it on the wall after it's done.
You come, you take out all the windows. You see what that would do for us. So things changing and learning more about fires and learning more about how to fight fires, it's a change in mentality and a change in the way we do things. And that, and not just here, but when you're talking about suppression, all right, well then you're talking about supply line. So if you got heavy smoke showing, what we're gonna do, we're gonna need water, right? So I'm just saying there's a lot of things that mentality wise that's gonna change based on things that we know now, you know, the way that we're fighting fire, what the actual method of fighting fire is. So I just you're good. You're good. Thank you. I'll just
That's from the incident commander side. He's thinking long term. I'm looking at the first arriving apparatus. So what I'm looking at is a lot of people talk about the survivability profile. I do a survivability profile. A lot of people out there will say, well, we are their survivors. You are correct. We are their survivors. But if we open this up and it flashes on us as we're making entry, what kind of survivor are we? We're not a really good survivor. So as a first arriving unit, you have got to be able to read smoke. You've got to know what you're looking at. You've got to be able to know what size line to pull, where to put it, and where the flow path is going. You've got to be able to identify that as soon as you arrive on scene. Not only that, you've got to communicate it to the battalion chief and to the next incoming unit. So what is it after you communicate it? You control it. Once you start getting units in place, the first arriving officer is the incident commander. So he is going to have a little bit of say. So he starts controlling it. What's the next thing he's going to do? He's going to coordinate. He's going to be the conductor. He's going to coordinate the way everything takes place. And so battalion chief shows up or whoever, do a face to face. If he doesn't like what I got or what the officer's got, it's going to change it, right? Go ahead. No. That's right. Well, VES is done without a hose. It's done without any of that. So say, what are we going to do on the first thing we arrive? We got to do VES. What do we got to identify first? But our target hazards. What are our target hazards? Bedrooms, correct? Most of our people are found in bedrooms. So we'll say this is our fire floor. This is a bedroom. This is a high risk. You've got to be educated and know what you're doing. So if we take our tick and look, we see we got a back door back there. What's the first thing we're going to do when we get in? Close the door. Why? Because it's been shown doors have proven to control smoke and fire. Close the door, do a quick search, and then come back out. Right? All of it's got to be coordinated and communicated though. It's changed to VEIS. A lot of people don't like the new acronym. I'm sorry, it's just part of it. But VES is a very skill-oriented task. Actually, Atlanta's got a bunch of VES
So, Chief,
coming on over there.
when
you got to take it.
we go in there and you close that door and you make your search, and you come back out, then you take your marker and you mark that door saying it's been searched, or?
No, because that fire's going that door's going to be burned anyway, and after you go in, there's probably not going to be somebody else to go in until they do a secondary search, in which they're going to search the whole thing over again. So the marking is mainly for tornado damage, earthquake, stuff like that. The one thing that you're not going to have the luxury of, the way they do here, is they were able to completely shut that front door.
Right.
If you're taking your hose line in there, you don't want that door shut. You know, if you have to bail out of there in a hurry, you're going to be following your hose line back out, and you want to be able to get out.
Right.
So, once you open that door, you've got to be able to go in, get to the seat of the fire, and knock that fire down. You know, once you get knocked down, communicate back, we're ready for PPV. And so, you got somebody at the door, they got that fan started and pointed away from the door. So we're ready for PPV. You turn it in, you say, okay, fan's in place, and then they can start making openings as they need to inside. Anybody have any questions about that at all? And it's good to, like my house right now, every door inside is shut. Hollow core door doesn't have that much fire resistance, but half-inch sheetrock, 4-hour fire rating. Now, that's some engineer came up with that. So if you got,
so it's good to keep your doors closed.
Keep your doors closed.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll show you. I can bring in pictures of houses that are where one door's closed and that room's almost untouched.
Mm-hmm. Every one of my doors are shut right now.
I remember like 20-something years ago, you went in there and, you left the door open. So.
You thought about going down to Builder's Choice and see if they donate wood?
I've not.
Yeah, I'm looking. That thing's only, it looks like it's only about 16 inches wide, 18 inches
You
wide.
can make one of those out of one sheet OSB.
That or going longer. Oh hell, I got some you can have.
We made a bunch of these for this past.
Well, matter of fact, I got a piece of sheet of plywood at the house, I think.
We built several of these, probably 10 or 12 of them. I'm gonna see if we still got any left. If they would be willing to look the other way, well, one of them ended up in the back of my pickup. We can play with. If you do it right, you can use them a couple times. If you don't burn
Don't
them
need
up.
to steal anything. I got your back. I got your plan.
You got plans are online. You can get plans for them and knock them out in an hour or so. So you can control fire by appropriate ventilation. You can make the fire go where you want it to go, or keep it from going where you don't want it to go. Just by controlling the airflow and the exhaust. Pretty basic fire science. Anybody have anything at all? So, while everybody's here, get with Chris. Y'all order badges, or let them know who wants how many, or what you want them to say, and whatever, and we'll get them ordered.
I know I brought money for a reason.
Meeting adjourned.
That's a pretty damn good problem. I like that.
Thank y'all for coming.
Thank you for having us.
My pleasure.